Hi guys, welcome back to Foundations of Real Estate Financial Modeling. Today, we're super excited about the next series of videos, and this is the first video that's gonna kick it off. But we are finally going to start getting into the modeling part of the channel. And in this today's video, we're gonna go over how to model revenues for a multifamily project. And the way we're gonna be doing that is we're gonna be using the net effective rent method. I'll walk you through it a little bit behind the theory, which is super simple, and then we'll start building out the Excel sheet for you guys to get an idea of how the model is structured and all that type of stuff, right? So essentially, so what the net effective rent is just one of the two ways that people like to use to model revenues in the multifamily space. As you can see, net effective rent is just the rent that we have per month times the number of units in our building times 12 months. So that would give you your net effective rent for the whole year. But then we need to consider that we won't be renting the whole building out, right? Because we're gonna have some spaces, some units that are not gonna be leased, so we have vacancy loss. We're also gonna have non-revenue units, which are basically units that you have in the building that won't be generating any revenue because they're not gonna be leased. And the reason that they're not gonna be leased is because they're gonna be used for model units, or they might be used for the property management team that's on site. You might wanna give them one of the units to live in the building to take care of the residents there full time, things of that sort. And then the third thing that we can consider is bad debt. So renters that live in the building that don't pay their rent. So once you get the net effective rent, and then you subtract all of these three or four um, items, depending on how many of these you have and the nature of any of these items in your project, and you end up with total rental income. But then within a property, you don't only have losses, but you also have some additions to your revenue. So you might be charging for your utilities, right? So you're gonna get reimbursed for your utilities. You have other sources of revenue. Maybe you charge for laundry, charge for parking, storage. Maybe you charge a bit extra for having a pet. Maybe you have charge some application fees on your job. So once you add all of the other revenues to your project, then you end up with the total revenue for that project. So again, real quick, you get your net effective rent, multiplying the rent by the units by the months, and that's your rent generated in a whole year. You subtract all of the negatives from the project, and then you add all your reimbursements and other revenues, and you end up with total revenue. Okay, guys. So with that, let's jump into building the spreadsheet, right? And we're gonna start from blank. As you can see, I have three tabs. So I have inputs and drivers, I have the model, and I have historical financials. So if you wanna get the historical financials and you don't wanna copy them by hand by pausing the video and all that stuff, right? I'm gonna leave a link to downloading this data online. It's just gonna be a Google Drive link. You can go to it and download it for yourselves. That way you can just follow along with the video. So feel free to press stop on the video, download it, incorporate into your spreadsheet, and then follow along after that. But basically, the inputs and drivers tab is going to be used to push the numbers in and drive the numbers in your model tab. But we'll worry about that in the next video. But for now, let's just start structuring our model, okay? So to start with, we want to have our input section. So maybe we want to add some divisions here. So here we want to add a subsection for the information on the project that we're looking to engage in. So maybe we have the name of the project, we have type of project, location, we have number of units, and year built. So name of the project, you guys can name it whatever. We can name it 4 Street Towers, just because. Type, we'll say it's a multifamily job. Location, we'll say this is in Chicago. Units, we'll say we'll have 150 units. And let's say this was built in 2000, okay? And I'm a stickler for format, so let's keep it that way. So that's our first subsection. We can go into our acquisition assumptions, because we are planning on buying this property. Oops, sorry guys. Acquisition assumptions. So we have an acquisition date. We have an assumed holding period, so that will be the amount of time that we hold on to the property before we decide to sell it. We have purchase price, which is the amount of money it's going to cost us to buy the property. And then we have acquisition closing costs. Okay. So we're gonna fill this on the later videos. Just wanted to set up the stage on the property information side of things, but we'll start filling out the rest of the information in later videos. For now, we're just focusing on structuring the Excel sheet and our model so that we can have a effective and efficient Excel sheet here. Okay, so moving along, we want to have a section for the numbers that drive our model, so we can start structuring that here. So go drivers, call it model drivers. So here we're gonna have occupancy, effective rent, per month, and let me add one more line over here. Now that I'm thinking about it, we always want to have a section that references the last 3 months of the property's financial performance. So, and you guys will see this later on in this video series, is we're going to take the performance of the last 3 months and we're going to annualize it, because the last 3 months are it's a good measurement point, a good benchmark that we can use to model the performance of the building in future years. So we'll note that this is for T3, meaning the last 3 months. Sorry. Place income, say T3, time last 3 months. So from here we're gonna go to net effective rent. Let's capitalize that. And like we said, we have to subtract the items in the project that are gonna cost us money. So that would be the vacancy loss, non-revenue units, revenue units, and bad debt. And then we're gonna have total income, let's just color that, fill that in. And then after we get our total income, we still need to add all of the reimbursements and other positive cash flows that are gonna come into the project. So like we saw from our PowerPoint presentation, we're gonna have utility reimbursements coming in, and we're gonna have other income. So other income, like we said, that would be having some application fees, charging money for laundry, charging money for parking, charging extra for having a pet on site, things of that sort. Okay. And this is just for me, but a lot of people like to format their models differently. I like to have hard inputs as blue, functions as black, and any equations and functions that I pull from different tabs, I want to have them in green. But you'll see that as we go through the video series as well. Okay. Okay, so the next section that we need to add into our inputs and drivers tab would be the revenue assumptions for the project. Right, so we can set that up pretty easily. Let's go revenue assumptions. So we'll do year, we'll do occupancy, and we'll do rent growth. Let's capitalize that just to keep things consistent. The other thing that we need to do is grow our other revenue. So rents are going to grow, or we're assuming that they're going to grow across the years, but we also need to, it's a healthy assumption to assume that our other revenues are going to grow as well. So let's plan for that. Other revenue, let's say growth. Okay. So let's leave some space there in between our next section and the revenue assumptions. Next, we're going to go into what we call capital expenditures. So that will be money that we put into the property to renovate the units or anything inside of the property really. So if we wanna change the flooring on a couple units, if we wanna repaint, if we wanna add a gymnasium, add water fountains, things of that sort. So we'll plan for that as well. So for capital expenditures, we'll say defensive, then offensive expenditures. We need to track our schedule as to when we're gonna start doing the renovations after we acquire the property. So let's track that as well. Let's make some space for that. So we have a schedule. We have a start date. Actually, we're gonna need to add another line. We have our start date. We have our end date. And then we have a duration. And I want to have this right here just because that's how I like to see things. Maybe just have this here. It's fine. Let's just color this. What's a good color? Bluish. Make this white. No, that's not. Let's skip it. No, skip it like colors. And then we can make this black. And it's fine. Okay, good. There we go. Okay, so say we're planning to make some unit renovations. So we'll say unit renovations. And we're going to start keeping track of the units that we renovate. The remaining units to renovate as we start our renovation process. How many units we want to renovate per month. Renovated per month. How much gonna cost us per unit? To a unit would be the apartment, right? How much we think we're gonna be able to charge for those renovations, and then the return on investment on renovating those units. And really that's all we need. We already know that we have 150 units. This is built in 2000. The name and that's good to have, but it's not critical. And I think we've set up our spreadsheet to help us get the structure kicked off. Now let's jump to our model tab and start planning how we're going to structure that. Okay, so we can start by just on the top left corner, say this is our model. We're going to run this a couple years. See, I think it's a double one. There we go. Oh, I don't want anything on the top. Just choose nothing there, here. Okay, there we go. So we set our acquisition date. We don't have one yet, but let's set it up to have one. The the size of the project, how many units we're gonna have. Let's fine, it's fine. Okay, cool. So we wanna start tracking the units that are unrenovated, and as we go through this and start putting in actual numbers, you see how we're gonna start pulling information from this tab to populate the model, and that will make sense in the following videos. But let's start populating our model tab here. So we're gonna say we wanna track units unrenovated. We're gonna track our units, say renovated units. Let's change this. Unrenovated units, and we're gonna be charging rent for those unrenovated units as well. They're not gonna be for free. Renovated effective rent. We're gonna charge for the renovated units as well. Renovated effective rent, and we wanna keep track of our rent growth. So we're gonna make some space for that. Okay. We want to keep track of our income in our model tab. We can make this bolded. We're gonna have our net effective rent. We're gonna track vacancy loss, our non-revenue units, bad debt, we're gonna have our total rental income, and let's just color that to keep track of our totals. That color's fine. We're gonna have our effective rent per month. Rent per month. Physical occupancy. Then we want to track our utility reimbursements. And our other revenues. I just want to make sure that the color that we use here is the same as the one we used over here. So we can just copy this, select where you want to copy, we're going to paste, then we just want to paste the formats. Yeah, I can go formatting. Okay. Seems to be alright. Nothing really changed. Okay, so after this, we're gonna have our total other revenue right here. You can change this to total other total other revenue. We'll just skip a line and then we'll say total income. And we want to have this one highlighted as well just to keep track of our totals. Let's make it blue. Let's make it blue. Okay. Now, like I said, when we're modeling, we want to take a look at the last 3 months of performance on the unit, on the building that we're trying to acquire, as well as the 12 months, a whole year worth of performance of the asset that we're trying to acquire. So we'll have that information on our model, and the way we can designate that is just say time on the last 3 months, time on the last 12, oh, not 21, 12 months. Oh, 12 months. And then we can, over here, we're gonna start filling out the time parameters for a project. So in reality, the date that you start with depends on your acquisition date, which we don't have one just yet. We haven't assumed one yet, but we can at least start modeling the months and the years. That shouldn't be much of an issue. We can start doing that right now. And we also haven't assumed the holding period yet, but what we can do is we can just go out 2 years or something like that to kick off the process here. Okay, so we can say year 0. And then we can say, well, this is going to be month 0. And I guess we have to make an acquisition date here, an assumption. We can say that our acquisition date's going to be, let's say is November 1st of 2022. Let's do that. Let's plan for that. Let's make that assumption. And I want to have we're hard coding this, so we want to have blue color. Oh, but that's not gonna work. This is about right. Okay. Oh, wrong one. Here we go. Perfect. Okay. So we would be assuming that we are buying this on November 1st of 2022. We can format this to make a little bit more sense. These are hard coded. Blue. And then we can go into year 1. So we can say year 1. Actually, let's do December 1st. That would be a lot better. December 1st, 2022. Yeah, that should work. Say year 1. Let's copy the formats. Year 1. month one, and then for 1 year is 12 months, so we can do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And then here we can do this plus 1. It's not pulling that out, so we can just say month 2, month 3, month 4, month 5, month 6, month 7, month 8, month 9, month 10, month 11, month 12. Okay, we want to go 2 years, so let's extend all of this a bit more. So we'll say year 2. Oh, year 2. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 12. It's gonna be year 2. You can just copy the months, number of months. Perfect. All right. So we're assuming we're buying it at the end of December 2022. We're gonna go up for 2 years. Let me fill this out. Okay. And really, that's it, guys. We're gonna start filling out this section and the rest of the model in the next coming videos. Definitely comment and check it out so you can see how all of this ties out. Have a good one, guys. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Okay, thanks.